All right, now that you've got down the basics of modeling in phases, let's talk about what we're going to show on our sheets. So if you remember from the lecture, if we took this project as an example, pretty much it's a normal set of plans. It has everything a normal set of plans would have, but with the addition of the demolition sheets. In this case, we could do everything on one sheet. Sometimes you need multiple, so let's look at that again. So what we're going to need to recreate for our set is we need to show what part of the existing building we're going to affect, right? And we need to show what's existing and then what is going to be demolished. That's the biggest thing we need to show, is the demolition that's going to need to happen. And so for us to do it on this project, it took 3 different views. We needed an elevation of the outside of where we were going to add on. We needed a roof plan, and we needed a floor plan. So for our project, we'll probably need the same stuff. We definitely need a floor plan so an existing floor plan. We're definitely going to need probably an exterior elevation of the area of the building where we're going to demolish some windows and some walls. And we don't need a demolition roof plan. We're not demolishing anything on the roof. We are demolishing something on the elevation, so we will do that. And we are demolishing some stuff in floor plan, so we should show there. So we'll do 2 of these views. We'll do an elevation and a floor plan. And the roof plan, we can tell the same story of where the new roof is going. We can tell that on the roof plan. We don't need a demolition roof plan for that. So we'll just do a demolition elevation and a demolition floor plan. So let's go back to our working view. If you remember, in 3D, we set this CAD file. And when you're done using the CAD file, I like to delete it, or this is where you can you could put it in a separate phase that you're never going to use, and you can hide it in a phase. Right now I'm going to leave it in because I still need to put my doors and windows in, and so will you in the activity today. Part of your assignment will be finishing the new model. So you might keep it in for now, but eventually you're going to need, before you print your sheets for the assignment, not for this exercise, but for the assignment, you'll need to have deleted the reference CAD file just so that it doesn't show up. Because you can see how it has it's got like text and stuff. We don't want that showing up in the views. All right, so we're going to create a demolition sheet the same way we did everything else. You can do it by scratch. You can create a new sheet, then you can duplicate a view and change the settings and then put it on the sheet. Or we can just pick a sheet that already exists that's pretty close to what we want. So in this case, let's start with the floor plan. That's pretty close to what we want. So let's just right click and we'll do duplicate sheet, and we'll duplicate the sheet with views. So that'll build us a brand new sheet, and then we just need to fill out the information like we normally would. And then this box pops up. We want to duplicate it with detailing, meaning it will copy in. Actually, I don't think we want it to copy in all the detail elements. So let's just duplicate it without detailing. So we'll pick the top number. All right, so now we've got our sheet. And let's do the first things first. Let's make sure the title block's filled out. So the sheet number shouldn't be an A. Well, it should be an A, but typically demo sheets, I like to do them in the zeros. So I'm just going to call this 000 so that it goes before the floor plans. And then I need to call this demolition. We'll do demolition plan and elevation. All right, so I think our title block's filled out. Now we need to ask ourselves what needs to be on this sheet. We definitely need this plan. but we don't need a window schedule or a door schedule or the legends, because the point of this sheet isn't to talk about doors and windows or that we're putting in or anything new. We're just purely trying to show what's being demolished out of the current floor plan. All right, so now we have our floor plan. The other thing we said we needed was an elevation. So let's get that on the sheet, and then we'll start editing the views to make them show what we want them to show. So let's see, what elevation do we need? If we look in 3D, there's nothing across the front that's going to be demolished. There's nothing across the back. It's just this one side. So we just need the side elevation, and I think I called this, let's see, elevations, building elevations. I think I called this the north, south, east. I think this is the west. Let's take a look. Yeah. All right, so let's right click and duplicate the west elevation. And we'll just rename it. Say west elevation. I'm just going to do hyphen demolition. Okay, I'm just going to close that, go back to our sheet, our demolition sheet, and then I'll drag that view onto the sheet. So now that's all ready for us to start working on it. And I just want the view marker to match a little bit the one below it. Keep it tidy. All right, now let's get it to show what we want it to show. Let's click into this view and let's see. First thing we want to do is change the phase. So we're going to change it from existing to addition. And then, but now it got rid of some of the stuff that we wanted it to show. So let's change our filter so that it's showing, we want to show the existing plus the demolition. So I'm going to do show previous plus demo. And now that puts the windows in and makes them dotted to let us know that you're going to demolish that. It even put this wall in, and it's put this line in the wall to let you know. Okay, and it's dotted, but you can't really tell because it's overlapping other lines. So we're going to have to make it more obvious to someone reading these plans that that wall's got to come out. The floor plan will definitely help with that, but we can also make a note here in the elevation. So let's see. Now it's showing the existing. It's showing what we want to remove, and that's the whole purpose of this elevation, is to simply show what is being removed. So I think we're pretty good. The only other thing we could do is to just graphically, I like to shade everything that's existing, but that will stay. And so you could do a filled region if you want, and you could do a filled region over everything except the demolished stuff. But that probably seems excessive right now for the elevation. I think it's probably good enough to leave it the way it is. We just need to put a couple notes. So let's go into annotate, text, and then I'm just going to draw, I want text with a leader line. All right, so remove existing window. And then you can copy that one over to here. Just as a bonus, this has nothing to do with demolition plans, but I hate the default arrows. They make me angry. So I'm just going to come into, I'm going to click on the text, and I'm going to edit the text type, and I'm just going to change this arrowhead to an arrow that's 15 degrees and filled. I like narrow arrowheads, and I want them to be filled. So I'm going to click OK. And now you can see that's how I like my arrowheads. You can do it however you want. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this down and I'm going to say remove existing wall. And then I'm going to sit back and ask myself, if I didn't know what was going on with this project, would I understand this? And the answer is probably no. I think it's not real clear what part of the wall is to be removed unless you're looking really hard. So I'm going to do a filled region. So I'm going to go over here, click filled region, and I'm just going to draw a filled region around the portion of the wall that I want them to remove. I didn't quite get this aligned properly down here. Okay, and then I'm going to finish that sketch. Oh, I forgot to cut out the window. Let's edit that. Oops. I'm going to hit undo. And I need to do this around the window. Now, the thing you need to remember is the line weight. So I'm going to click these lines, and right now they're thin lines. I'm going to make them invisible lines. And then I'm going to click OK. Oh, did you see? Let's turn on thick lines and see what it looks like. Go to view, thick lines. Okay, so the lines, the reason I didn't do solid lines is because then it wouldn't look like the window's being removed. So if you do invisible lines, you can see that it's removing, or that it still shows the dotted lines. Right, the other thing I hate is that it kind of covers the existing wall pattern. So we're going to come over, we're going to click on our filled region, and we're going to come over here. And why? Let's see what's going on here. Oh, I used the wrong thing. I picked masking region. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to go back to the annotate tab. See how I accidentally hit masking region? I want a filled region. So let's redo that really quickly. And then let's get the middle window. And I'm going to tab select all 4 lines, and I'm going to change them from thin lines to invisible lines. And then click OK. Okay, so now you see there's a hatch pattern there. The only thing I want is, it doesn't matter what hatch you pick. I usually like a diagonal hatch pattern like that to signify that it's being demolished, but it needs to be transparent. So I'm just going to click back on the hatch pattern, come over here, and I'm going to create a new type. So I'm going to hit edit type. And this is, again, this is a system family. So you edit it, you make a new type the same way you make a new wall type. Come over here and let's duplicate it is the first thing. So it'll be diagonal down. And then I'm just going to put hyphen transparent. And click OK. Oh, it says it already exists. So that's great. We don't even have to make a new one. Let's look. Diagonal down transparent. So I'll just switch it to that. And now you can see there's a hatch pattern, but it's also transparent. So now when the note says remove existing wall, I can say remove existing wall where hatched. Oh, oops, I need all caps. Where hatched. There we go. Now it should be pretty clear what's being removed and what's not. I can even, if I want to, I can edit this hatch pattern or this filled region. So I'll click on the filled region and I'll hit edit boundary, and I'll tab select all the border lines. And let's even make these wide lines and finish. That way, when I look at this, I can clearly see, oh yeah, they want me to remove this portion of the wall, plus that window and that window. All right, so I'd say the elevation's pretty clear now. Let's go to the floor plan. So the first thing we'll notice on the floor plan is I can see the CAD file. You see how the text is coming through from the CAD file, and then you can see over here, it looks like there's more building that's being cut off, but it's just the CAD file. That's why I said when you're done, it's good to delete the CAD file. That way it doesn't show up in a bunch of views that you didn't mean for it to show up in. For now, because I still need to put in my doors and the other stuff, I'm just going to hide this in the view. So I'm going to right click and hide in view, and I'll just hit element. And now we've hid the CAD file. So that's good. The other thing we don't need in an existing floor plan is these sections. We're not trying to show, like these sections right now are showing the existing building and it's already built, so we don't need sections of that. So we can either delete these or we can hide them. And normally I would delete them, but for now I'm just going to hide them because we'll use them later. We'll move them into the new portion of the building and we'll reuse these views so that we don't have to create new ones. So I'm just going to go to visibility graphics settings, and I'm going to go to annotation categories and go to sections and uncheck that and hit apply, and those will disappear. All right, the next thing we're going to do is make sure that it's named correctly, the view. Do you see how it says main floor plan, but it's not, it's the existing main floor plan. And you also see over here, this view, it made a copy of it and it just called it copy one. So we need to rename both of those. And we can do that all at once if you just go over here to the view properties. See how it says view name and then title on sheet? We'll just change both of those. So we'll name this main floor plan. What did we call? I think demolition. That way it matches the elevation. And we'll copy that and I'll just paste it for the sheet name. So now it changed the name on the sheet and it changed the name over here in the browser, the actual view name. So that's a good start. The other thing, we don't necessarily need to show, if you wanted to hide all the cabinets and the plumbing and all of that, we could. But for now we can leave it. Okay, so we have to step back again and say, what is the goal of this floor plan? The goal is to show what's being demolished. So right now it's not showing everything. It's just showing the existing building as it is. So we need to go back over to the view settings and we need to change the phase to addition. And then we need to, so that's great. It turned that all gray. And then it added on, you can see it now is showing the new parts of the model. We want to filter those out. So let's go back to phase filter and we'll change it to the same thing we did on the elevation. We only want to see the previous phase plus the demolition. So let's change it to that. And now you're only seeing the existing building, which has been grayed out, and then it's in black, dotted lines, it's showing what we're going to remove. So that's great. Now things are looking good again. And I don't like that this is showing, so I'm going to right click on it and hide this category. Okay, so now this is looking really good. The only other thing I would do now is, like we did on the exterior elevation, I'm going to note what's coming out and what's staying. So let's do a text note. I'm not going to note everything this time. I'm going to let you guys do that as part of your activity. But let's just, for example, remove existing window. And you're just going to write notes as if you're talking to a contractor and telling him what to do. So we can copy that note to this window. And then You can do that for the tub. Remove existing bathtub. Okay, so as part of your assignment, I'll be asking you to make sure you note everything that needs to be removed. The toilet, the countertop, the cabinet, the door, this portion of the wall, this other portion of the wall. This might be another good place where you do a hatch over the walls, the two walls that are going to be removed, because it's not clear exactly which wall you're going to remove right here. You can't, it's not really good with the dotted lines. It's not easy to see. So you can hatch over that to let them know. Even the door's kind of funny. The door you can see is infilled, and you can see it's solid around the edges. So you could, if you wanted to right click and override the graphics of this element, you could make some more changes in here if you'd like to change the pattern or the fill pattern or the line pattern or the color. You could do that too. Your goal is simply to try to communicate accurately what's being changed. So I'm gonna deactivate that view and go back out to the sheet. And let's just look at the sheet. I think we have the views we need. All you probably need to do is just add a little bit more explanation and notes to the floor plan. The other thing you could do is you could do a gray filled region around everything that's not being touched. So you could just draw gray if you wanted to gray out all of this. Like that. All of that could be gray. And then you could make a note in the gray area that just says gray hatch indicates a building that won't be touched, whatever note you want to write. Your job is simply to let the contractor know what's happening. Okay, so that's your demolition sheet. Let's talk about the other sheets now that are existing. So if this was a new set, we're basically creating a brand new set. So instead of trying to describe the original house like we did before, that's what all these sheets are currently doing. Like if I go to the floor plan, it's still trying to show someone how to build the house. We're no longer trying to tell someone how to build the house. We're trying to tell someone how to build the addition. So we need to go through each of these views and change them so that they're relevant to the new scope. Normally you'd be doing this from scratch, but to try to save you time, I'm not going to have you do this from scratch. I want you can just reuse the views you've already spent time creating. So let's go over, for example, the floor plan. Part of your assignment today will be to make all these changes to all of the views, but let's just go over floor plan today, or for right now in detail. So I'm going to double click to activate the view. And now I'm going to ask myself, what am I really trying to show in the floor plan now? I don't need to show any of the existing building anymore. We could maybe leave the room numbers or the room names, but we don't have to number the doors or the windows. So I'm going to click on the tags and I'm going to select all instances in view. I'm just going to delete them out of there because we don't care about the existing windows or the doors. So we'll select all instances visible in view, delete those. Honestly, you can also see the CAD file is still showing through. Let's right click on the CAD file and hide in view that element. So now the CAD file is gone. What else should we take out of here? I don't think the rooms need to be numbered. So let's just change the tag. Select all instances visible in this view. And let's change it to name only. And while I'm here, while they're all selected, I'm also going to right click and I'm going to override the graphics by element. And I'm going to halftone them. So I'm going to click the halftone button and click OK. And now they look faded. Okay, so what else do we need to change? These section markers aren't relevant anymore, so we need to change those. And the walls, we're not showing the addition. That's a major problem. So let's look at our settings again for the view. It's showing as the existing phase, so let's change that to addition. And now you can see our new walls are popped in over here, and all of the existing stuff went gray. So that's good. Oh, let's hide this category. All right. And then right now it's showing the demolition, it's showing the existing, and it's showing the new stuff. So it's showing old, new, and demolished. I don't think we need to show the demolished anymore because it's just getting in the way. It looks funny and it's hard to tell what's happening. And we already showed what's being demolished in the demolition plan. So there's no need to show it here. So let's change our filter to show only, let's show the previous plus the new. So show previous plus new. There you go. So now it's only showing the stuff we want. So the other problem is that it's being cropped off. So let's turn on our crop region down here by hitting the light bulb. That brings that back on. Let's click on it and just drag it out. There we go. Now we can see the whole new addition. And let's turn our crop region back off. There we go. So now here's our new floor plan, and this is the part we care about most. And right now, what it should be showing, right now we're just doing the exercise, but by the time you're done with your assignment, you should also, the floor should be in here, the finished floors should be here, the doors will be in, the windows will be in, and you can treat this exactly like the floor plan. So everything that was on this floor plan should also be here. I'm trying to think why we lost our room tags. Why did those go away? Let me change my filter back to existing. I think it's because the room, if you click on the actual room, it has a phase, I think, or maybe not. Phasing existing. Okay, so I think it has to do, let's change our phase back to addition. And I think we can still add a room tag. Oh, no, we can't. Okay, I guess we're not going to worry about labeling the existing rooms. We will just label the new rooms. So in order to label the rooms, you first have to place the rooms. So remember, as part of your assignment, you'll have to do that. But just as a reminder on how to do that, you go to Architectural and you'll go to the Room tab and you can just click to add the new rooms in. And then this room, we could do a room, so let's escape and let's go to Architectural. And right here, there's the room separation line. Let's go ahead and just draw a room separation line across the hallway. It's invisible in this view, so you get a little warning that says you can't see the object you just created. That's okay. And let's go back to create a room. And now, because we drew that line, the hallway is a separate room from the entry. Because we still want the entry to be the entry, we just want this new hallway. All right, and then you'll go through and you'll name these. Bedroom 2, bedroom 3. And go ahead and go through all of them and finish that up. All right, so in the end, when you're done with this floor plan, I want it to look like the old floor plan, but just instead of detailing all the stuff in here, you would put the stuff in here. So that includes window tags, door tags, room names, room number. And then what you also need to do is now adjust the schedules so they're only showing the new windows and not the existing windows. And then you can also adjust the legend, take out all the stuff that's existing, delete the windows that are existing, and only keep the windows that are in the new edition. Same with the doors. You'll get rid of any doors that are no longer in this, but I think the only one that would go away is actually the front door. And then you can also relabel these. If the front door goes away, then this one could be A and then B. So let me show you how to do that though, because that's a little bit different. Let's put in a door and a window. Let's make sure we've got, that's an exterior door. Let's click on one of these and do create similar. And we'll put that door here and here. Like that. And then let's just copy the same window. Let's create similar. Let's put it here. And one here. And then let's double click to deactivate the view, outside the view. And let's look at how we would only show these new windows and doors that we put in the schedule. Let's double click on the window schedule. And right now, if you go over to the schedule settings, one of the things you'll find is a phase filter and phase settings. So right now it's showing existing. We want to change that so that it's showing addition. And you can see it's still showing all of the windows because it says show all. So let's change that to only show new and click OK. And now do you see how it changed the window schedule? Now it's only showing 2 windows that are type 4, that are 5 by 5. Those are the 2 windows that we put in. So I'm going to close that, and now the schedule is correct on the sheet. Now it's only showing these 2 windows, and we'll want to make sure that we tag both of these windows. And you see how it says 4, and it matches type 4 down here. Now, the reason it says 4 is because that was type 4 in our original set of drawings. Technically now, it should say 1 because those other windows those are not new windows, and so they don't technically, for the purpose of these drawings, they don't exist. So we could start with 1 here and click OK. That will change both windows to type 1, and it should change it in the schedule. So the only other thing you want to do is make sure you adjust the legend. What used to be type 4 is now type 1. And all of these windows go away. And we can delete that, and we can delete that. So normally, like I said, you would do all of this from scratch if you were doing this job brand new. But since we already spent the time making these sheets, it's easier to just edit the sheets. I also think it teaches you to understand better how to edit things. If I just cleared everything out and made you redo it, not only would it take more time, but you would just be following what we've already done up till now. And this is a new way of thinking about how do I get what I want in a different way than I'm used to, right? Because up till now, you really, if you had to redo this from scratch, you can use all the steps we already used. But you've already learned those. So it's good to think about this in a different way, I guess is all I'm trying to say. All right, so our window schedule is adjusted. I will let you take the same principles on your own and apply it to the door legend and the door schedule so that you can get it down to just showing the doors that you've put in. When you go to edit your schedule, you'll have more doors than I do right now because you will have gone through and put all of them in. Okay, so that's the general principle for adjusting the floor plan. Let's look at our other plans, and I'm not going to go step by step through these because you're going to do it in the assignment, but I do want to discuss any items that I think you might get tripped up on. So if we go to the dimension plan, what you're going to do here as a general strategy is you're going to make similar adjustments that we did to the floor plan. I don't want to see the CAD file in here. We need to see the new walls. And then you're going to strip out all of the dimensions that are currently showing because those already exist now. What you need to dimension in this plan is the new addition. So you'll start your dimension strings on just the addition portion of the building. And you'll apply the same rules that you did to make this dimension plan. You'll apply it to the new dimension, to the new addition. So that means you need to make sure you dimension all of the outside of the new addition in 3 rows like this. Or like, for example, do you see how I don't have 3 rows here? Actually, that's not completely a good idea. I should have 3 rows here because I have a window. But if there's redundant dimensions, you don't have to do all 3 rows. Like, do you see how on this first row, if I would have added this in and this in, it would be the same as right here and right here. If it's redundant, you don't need to include it, but if you haven't covered it somewhere, you need to cover it. So remember, the first row is you're trying to get everything, every building jog and every window and every door all in one string. And then the next string is just a summary string of all the jogs. So then you're just trying to get jogs in the building. And then the third string is the overall length or dimension of that whole side of the building. So you'll apply those same principles around the new addition. And again, I'm not going to grade you really harshly on this as long as you tried. Dimensioning is an art form, and I have 20 years of experience dimensioning. Someone else that has my same amount of experience would do it slightly different than me. There's not a wrong way as long as you make sure that you tell the contractor enough information that he can place all of the exterior walls and the windows. Then after that, remember, you need to make sure, are all of the interior walls dimensioned so that a contractor would be able to accurately place those. So you'll need to do that. And then you'll want to label the rooms just like we did. So basically everything that's here now still needs to be here, but just on the addition and not on the existing. Okay, so that would be your general plan for the dimensions, the dimension plans. Then reflected ceiling plan, same thing. You'll just you'll add the new stuff into that view. Exterior elevations. You can literally almost just keep them the way they are. You can keep all of these elevations, and the only thing that's going to change is a little bit more is going to be added on the side. And then the west elevation is going to change. Let's see. This west elevation is going to change slightly. And so is the front and the back. The east elevation you could take off completely if you wanted, because it'll only be showing existing building. There's nothing new in here. So if you want to delete that, you can. Especially since when you add on to this building, it might make it hard for all of the views to fit on one sheet. Okay, so you'll adjust those. 3D views, probably all you'll need to do is just recrop them to make sure they're showing. And then you'll want to change the phase filter to show the correct phases. Roof plan, same thing. You'll correct the phase settings and then just show the additional roof and in context with the existing. All right, then the sections. We can keep the sections. They just need to be placed differently. So if I go back to my floor plan, let's go to our working floor plan. And let's change this to existing. Oh, and I need to turn on my visibility graphics. I need to go to the sections and turn on the section markers. So what I need to do with both of these views, I'm going to click on both of them. I need to make sure that they're set to be in the addition phase, right? And then now I need to go back to my working view and also change it to show the addition. Okay, so now my sections are showing up, and I'm just going to move them to a new part of the house. Okay. And I'm just going to edit this crop region. There we go. So now if I go back to my section views, and I click in here, Oh, they still need to be edited because like right now, if I click in here, I need to make sure I show previous plus new. And right now I don't have the floor in or the roof, but once you get to this step, you'll see the new roof and the new walls. Anyways, so the point is you just need to edit your sections so that they are going through the new portion of the building. So you see in here, we can move our section marker to here. And remember with sections, do you see there's this dot? That controls where the section marker is. These little arrows show the crop boundary of the section. Remember, those are different things. So moving this head around isn't changing the view, it's just changing the marker in the floor plan. Okay. Electrical plan. I'm going to say for this activity, or yeah, for this assignment and this exercise, let's not worry about the electrical plan. It's a lot of work, and I think you understand. If you've gotten to this point, you don't need to redo the electrical plan. So let's just delete the electrical plan out of the set. And then for interior design, you're going to do the same thing. You need to adjust the schedule to only show the new room. And you need to adjust this floor plan to show the new areas. And then you need to do new enlarged floor plan callouts of the new rooms. And I'll just have you do the bathroom and the 2 bedrooms. So it's going to be three new enlarged floor plans. And then I need 4 elevations for each one of those. So it's going to be 3 new enlarged plans and 12 new interior elevations. And you can completely delete the ones that are in the existing building. You don't want them to show up on this floor plan. So then when you move over to the next sheet, which is the enlarged plans with all the views, you can delete all of these views off the sheet because they're no longer relevant. And you just want to show your new areas now. And once you do that, you've created a brand new set of drawings that only talk about the renovation. And once you've done that, you now understand how to use phasing to create documents in Revit.